If you want financial freedom, time freedom, and want to leave a legacy for generations to come, you probably have heard real estate investing is the place to do that. How do you get started? What do you have to do? When's the right time? If you are looking for those answers, you've come to the right place. My name is Kyle Stanley, and this is Fearless Flipping. My mission is to help you learn this business and conquer real estate investing. Welcome into Fearless Flipping. We are back at it with Corey Griffin from Savannah, Georgia. You heard him on the first episode. He's got a huge heart. Now we're going to hear from him on this second episode of how not only that he's working with his mom and fiance on building a business, but doing it initially from a place where he didn't even live. Yeah, he was from Savannah, Georgia, but he was living in San Francisco when he started building a business in Savannah, Georgia. The momentum of that business brought him back to Savannah, Georgia, but for many years, he was just working through his mother. So if you want to learn about how to do that, maybe you're in a city that flipping a home or wholesaling or buying wholes just doesn't make sense for you because of a lot of different reasons. Maybe it's financially, maybe it's you're not connected there. Maybe there's a lot of different things that could hold you back. Just like what Corey's going to say here, those are just excuses in your mind, but at the end of the day, there is such a thing as a good market and a not so good market. So I really just want to encourage you to listen in, take some notes, and take into action what Corey shares with us, whether you're looking to expand to a market now or in the future. We are back at it with Corey Lee Griffin from Savannah, Georgia. And what I just really want to encourage you to do before we get started here with Corey is go back to the episode that we did earlier this week, or if you're watching this down the road, just go back to the first episode with Corey and listen to his story, because not only are you going to hear some success and what he's done in his career, but you're also going to hear how much he has a passion for helping other people. And I think that's what it's all about now, no matter if you're doing real estate or not, that's what it's all about. And so Corey, thanks again for being back with us. And I'm excited to dive deep into talking about how to build a real estate business when you don't even live in the same city. You excited, man?
Oh yeah, man. Who would have thought that you can build a real estate business not living in the same city?
Hey, you have found a way, and not only have you found a way, but you've made it a family affair. So I'm excited to, once again, if you haven't already listened to that first episode, you got to go back and listen to it. Corey's working very closely with his fiance and his mom, and he's doing a great job of building a business with both of them by his side. Now, Corey, it sounded like you really just decided to do real estate investing outside of the city that you were in because of a lot of reasons, but it sounds like it turned into a great decision for you. Can you kind of just take me through why you made that decision before we jump into it?
Yeah. So I would say when you are planning to invest into real estate in general, you definitely want to know your market. You know, I jumped into a market that I didn't know anything about it. I think you start in your backyard because you know that market. So my backyard just happened to be San Francisco. Like I lived in San Francisco in Pacific Heights. So, like $3-5 million. They're like, hey, walk down the street, find a house. I'm like, oh, these are $3 to $5 million houses. So what it was easier to think like, hey, it's easier to flip houses in a city with $50,000 or $20,000 and things like that. Not because I had it in my bank account, just because just easier to fathom in my head. I wasn't set up that way, but I also realized there was a ton of competition in the area that I was living in, which I personally still believe is an excuse. I was trying to really do deals in the Bay Area. I just realized that I just needed to spend a little bit more money on certain marketing aspects of it, or just have a lot of sweat equity, which is what I put into that. So I did start in my backyard. If somebody decides, hey, I want to invest in another state, like invest somewhere that you don't mind like visiting. If you like the cold, then invest in Indianapolis. I liked Savannah, Georgia, so it was a city that I wanted to invest in my whole life. I mean, not my whole life, but my whole real estate kind of career. But having boots on the ground, I think, you no matter what you hear from people um, about investing in real estate virtually, it's a real sexy, sexy business, virtual real estate, virtual rehabbing, virtual wholesaling, all that kind of stuff. But like, you got to visit the city that you're checking out. At the end of the day, not having the right people in place, not having the right, you know, processes in place, not having the right, which I believe is probably the most important thing, leadership in place. Your business will just, it's just so easy to go down. But there's a reason why McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, all that kind of stuff, Starbucks, all these different corporate companies can be in multiple cities. And if you live in a city, you probably see, one town, couple towns have, a couple franchises that are local. And the reason being that is because they have a team. And that's what I realized. I was a one person show. Even when Monica was involved, I still was doing most of the stuff. And I would say like just letting people help me was probably one of the biggest things. Not thinking that I could do it all. So that's huge, man. Is having a team.
And that's something that I've talked about with a few different interviewees on this show is relinquishing control can be a very scary thing. So you have to have confidence not only in your own leadership ability, but the leadership of others around you, especially if you're not going to be in that area. So, obviously when it came down to it, you picked your mom to be the person that had boots on the ground for you in Savannah, Georgia. Now, I just want to know, most people's moms are not going to probably join their business. That's just an assumption. I might be wrong. But with the types of qualities that your mom has, she's been successful. Can you just kind of talk about some of those qualities that people should be looking for if they're going to put someone on the ground in a different city than they're in?
Yeah, yeah, man. I didn't choose my mom because she was my mom. chose my mom because she's a beast when it comes to like certain things in the business. And so, yeah, you want to test people. You want to test people. You definitely want to fire people before you hire them. And my mom knows this. Like I threw her out into the woods, and I just seen if it worked. Like I started marketing. I put the phones on her, and she started answering them. And it could have been really, really easy for her to say, "Hey, this is not for me." This is a little bit too much because I mean, her phone literally was going to melt with all the leads I was sending her, with direct mail, with Facebook ads, with signs. I would fly down to Georgia, just put out signs, and I just seen if she would even like create solutions and all that kind of stuff. But we had a conversation, and I actually had, we talked, and I think the number one thing is when you're looking for people, you got to have some kind of like little questions and processes that you want to ask. Like for instance, like why do you even want to do this real estate stuff? And if somebody gives you an answer like I just want to make money, then my mom didn't just want to make money. She had a why. She wanted to retire. She wanted to do something different. I mean, she's a hustler, like a real legitimate like hustler. And so she has that like in her blood. And so I don't know, like she's waited tables before. So like she's sold airline tickets. She used to sell airline tickets. So like those things, her background made her more qualified for the sales role, right? I didn't put her in a CMO role just because she's my mom, like as far as marketing. I didn't put her into marketing. I taught her what I'm doing for marketing, but I realized she's really good with talking to people. So that's the thing. Like as a leader, you got to realize like what people are good at, and like a coach, like, hey man, you're really good. Like yes, you want to be a center, but like in basketball, you might be the best forward for this team right here, right now, and realizing that, and then not being afraid to say, hey, that position, like I had my mom working with buyers, and I think she's better with sellers. You know what I mean? Like, just because there's more, she's just better with sellers. She's better with sellers. There's a lot more qualities that I like about what she does with that, and I'm better with some of the buyers, or maybe another salesperson. Another person is better with sellers. So whether it's your mom, your dad, your cousin, a new person, you want to vet everybody, give people little tests, give them little trial tasks and see if they can do that. And don't be afraid. I mean, I wasn't afraid to tell my mom, like, hey, at the end of the day, this is not working out for us. I didn't get into a partnership first with my mom. I started marketing first.
That's awesome. So just to recap there, some of the qualities that you're looking for: a strong why, a hustler, someone with maybe some great customer service background. And then once you find that, you just test them. You don't make any promises. You don't give them per se a job. You just test them. And once she passed that test, you just started catering exactly what she was good at to what you gave her as tasks. I think that's awesome. I think that's a great business model, no matter if you're in real estate investing or not. So I guess the next question I have for you is, how did you teach her to, I'm just kind of picturing going through the homes and evaluating the homes, estimating the repairs, doing the comps, looking at the neighborhoods. How did you teach her all that with you not being in that same city?
I didn't. I did not teach her. I think it's really important, like we talked about in the last episode, like I have mentors, I have people that I have paid a significant amount of money and time and energy, and learned and really like did things myself first, and then got those videos. Like, if we're in 2019, I almost said 2020. We're in 2019, and like there's so much out there. Yeah, so I learned a lot of my rehabbing skills and systems and processes from a company called Fortune Builders. One of my mentors' name is Stan Merrill. Like I said, he didn't take me by the arm and hit, say, hey, sit
Knuckle
down, let's do
sandwich.
this. Like, no, man, like he really, like, he has videos, he has training. And I thought it was really, really important for me and my relationship with my mother to not try to be the expert. My mom knows me, she raised me, and the last person that she's probably going to listen to when it comes to certain things is me. The same thing that Than says will reach her differently. And so I had to take my ego out and be like, look, like this is who I learned from, and this is potentially who you could learn from. Now, it doesn't have to be Fortune Builders, but my honest opinion, they're one of the best real estate, residential redevelopment, education companies out there. But I have other mentors and people that have helped me out too. But that was how I was able to teach her, by letting other people teach her. Same thing with sales, like like we talked about. Yeah, she knows how to walk houses and all that, but you could have 1,500 leads, but if you don't understand sales, and you don't understand, and you're scared of sales, and you're scared of closing somebody and talking to people and all that, like I let Grant teach her. That's another mentor. I got on Cardone University and I said, Mom, we're watching this. This is how we're doing it. And Monica too, like my whole team, we get on all that kind of stuff. Whatever we can learn from other people that have done it before us, you take some stuff, you leave some stuff. You don't have to like be that person, but Grant Cardone, I mean, the guy has a whole sales university, teaches you selling basics all the way to this. I mean, my mom didn't have a sales background per se, right? A traditional sales background. She sold things and whatnot. But like, getting the knowledge and saying, hey, let them train my mother, versus let me train my mother. Because I know if my mom tried to train me on something, I'm going to be like, yeah. But then when, it's just like when I was a kid, if my friend told me the same thing, like, man, you can't clean your room, man. It's disgusting. Then, you're kind of like, yeah, man, I need to clean my room, but your mom tells you the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to kind of like, in the same thing with like my cold caller. I got a cold caller. I hired a cold calling consultant to teach me what they're doing in their business to make money and actually get leads, and what's their system look like. I did it myself, learned it, and then I said, hey, Ray, he's our cold caller out in the Philippines. He has great English. He talks better than most Southerners. And he said, look, this is the best training I've ever had. I didn't even train him. Like, I let somebody else train him that already created it. None of this stuff is new. Like what we're talking about, Kyle, none of it is new. All this stuff, I mean, some of it's new. I can't say none of it's new, but a lot of this stuff is like it's just from a different person. Like the things I'm saying have came from, I didn't just make this stuff up. It's what I learned. And anybody that's listening to this podcast can learn these things and potentially take the stuff that where they learned it from and be like, hey, this is who I learned it from. Like listen to these people and put their team on that kind of stuff. So
And I think I've heard some sort of stat somewhere, wherever it came from, I'm not really sure, but it was something to the effect of like, if you want someone to be as good as you and you're the only one that's teaching them, it's just not going to happen. It's something like 80% of information retention, or they're only going to be 80% as good as you are. So why not expose them to amazing information out there that might be new, innovative, different than how you do it, but they might do it a better way than you're doing it. So you're empower. I hear empowerment. That's what I hear when you're doing that, and you're not trying to be the guy. And I also hear time freedom in that too. So that's awesome that you are just
yeah,
trusting these other resources. You're not sitting there for 13 hours in front of a whiteboard teaching them new things. And you know what? If people don't have the opportunity to go out there and buy coaching, there's always that opportunity too. I found as soon as I got into this local mentorship leadership through meetup groups, through Facebook groups, there's so many different ways that you'll find in this community people have of helping each other. So I think those are all great points. I just wanted to add in that little bit. And I also want to just kind of ask you as a backup here, Corey, with these things that you have and these people that you have and these different roles, at the end of the day, you still at the beginning knew more than them. So was there some sort of like checks and balances systems that you were putting into place to help them make sure that, they weren't putting in uneducated offers or things of that nature?
no, man, look, people are gonna make mistakes, and you got to be cool with that. It's more about people than it is like results. It's more about the people and then I'm dealing with my mother and my fiance. I gotta be very, very careful, like what is more important to me.
Right.
We all want to eat. Everybody has a goal to eat. We have goals in our company. We try to shoot for those goals. But like if my mom makes a mistake or if Monica makes a mistake, of course, like, emotions, all that kind of stuff, come out and all that. But like you do your best to be like, hey, what can we do to move forward and learn from that? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like you can't be so focused on the result because you're gonna push people out. Like they're gonna feel like another number. And I mean, it just doesn't work that way. And it just depends on that person's personality. Everybody's a little different. Some people might be listening to this and they're number driven and that's all they care about. Maybe I haven't experienced enough too in my life, in my business life, being taken advantage of and all that kind of stuff to where you have to be kind of, you know, driven on the numbers and whatnot. But right now, the lifestyle that I have, the way that I'm building my business, I'm not. I want to see results. We definitely, like I said, we have goals and we do our best to hit those targets, and we're hitting those targets. But what I think really brings the targets and all that stuff together is the fact that people can we can trust each other that we're gonna be in our lanes, right? We're able to be in our lanes, and that I trust that my mom is gonna make the right decision. And you wanna know why I trust my mom's gonna make the right decision? Because we role played, because we practiced, because we went through certain scenarios, right, during the week. Doesn't happen every day. I'm working on that. But we go through certain things so that I can say, okay, what happened yesterday with that seller? Why did they say that? Okay, because of my experience, I can throw things at them and be like, well, what if you said this? Or what if you asked this? Hey, in sales, if anybody wants a really good sales book, it's Persuasion. Persuasion. Can't think of the guy's name, but it's a really Presuasion or whatever. But it talks about framing, and it really talks about what are you doing to work on that person before you give them any kind of context and all that kind of stuff. And so understanding that kind of stuff really makes a big difference when we're training and we're role playing and those kind of things. So then I'm not afraid of mistakes. I know I want them to happen. Like, bring the challenges, bring the obstacles. The faster they come, the more we can get through that. And, now my mom's at a point where she made so many mistakes in the beginning. I made so many mistakes. I mean, some of the biggest mistakes I made was not taking a risk, not even trying. You know what I'm saying? So like, the fact that I seen that in myself, I pushed my mom, I pushed Monica both to just do it. Like, and I have another, I have an acquisitions guy. His name's Eric. I didn't really mention him this go round, but like, he's been a super big help. Like, just having somebody, like I was talking about before, who started out putting out signs to now locking up, 10 to 12 contracts in a month. And you're just like, man, like, yes, that came from me a little bit, but really it came from the environment that we were able to put him in, the trainings, the support. Hey man, if you need anything, hey, let me listen to what you're saying for at least a week, and then I can kind of guide you and then let you kind of fly and fall. I mean, you look at birds, like, they get anything from the nest and they fall sometimes. You know what I'm saying? They get back up, they try again, and then like, you gotta let your people make mistakes. And I think that's where a lot of people make a mistake at, is just thinking that like it's supposed to be perfect. I get caught up in it.
It's just like that sign says behind you, you get 1% better every day.
Every
So,
day.
and I think, just to kind of summarize that, because I'm hearing, once again, empowerment. I'm hearing, don't focus on the result, embrace the challenges. But at the same time, you're not just like, hey, go do your thing. You're also saying, hey, okay, you did your thing. Now let's team back up. Let's evaluate what happened and let's see how we can make it better next time. So you are taking on still that leadership role. And, I think there can be a very easy way to look at what you just said and say, oh, I can just go put people to work and not worry about it. No, you still have to provide that leadership and that, helping them evaluate how to do things better. So I think that's awesome, Corey. So I mean, there's just been so much information. I don't want to go too deep into this. I think we've already gone super deep. I think we've taught people that it's not that intimidating to go out there. You just got to find the right people. You got to breed the right environment for them to grow. And so unless there's anything else that you want to share about this topic, I think you've nailed it. I feel confident that I can go start working in Savannah. So
I would say, at the end of the day, like, don't stress out about, like I said this in the beginning, build a team and whatnot, but like, don't stress out about that, because the right people will come into your life. If you put yourself out there, the right people will come into your life. Always check people, like, if somebody says that they do this, and this, check them. Like, they don't have to be your mother. They don't have to be your fiance. Like, I've seen people that have successful partnerships, relationships, across the country with people that strangers, they just met them recently, but they vetted them the right way. They play their position right. They're joint venturing on a deal. You know what I mean? And they're able to come visit that city every once in a while. Like, I've had partners that have loaned me money here in Savannah, and I mean, they've never been to Savannah. So like, they don't necessarily have to be your mom. Like, they don't have to. I just want to remind people that, like, this could be just somebody who you connected with via Facebook because you're in the same group, or you commented on this page here and somebody commented back. Like, be careful of people, of course, but just remember, like, strangers can be some of the best people, like, you've ever met, and turn out to be some of the most supportive people you've ever met. So I just want to remind people that, like, yes, it's a family thing for me, but like, don't take that so literal and don't stress out about it. Like, just get started. Like, start calling realtors, start calling property managers, start calling contractors. Like, and if the person on the phone doesn't like you, screw them, call the next person, talk to them, and you'll connect with, there's billions of people on this planet. You'll connect with somebody. You know what I mean? You will connect with somebody. So, and you don't need a partner. You don't need a partner in the beginning. Get a team, over time, but like, don't let any of that stuff, anything I'm talking about, stop you from getting started. Like, just do it.
That's awesome. So much wisdom there, Corey. I know people are going to end up connecting with you on social media. So I'm just going to give them that option right now. They're going to go to Facebook, look up Corey Lee Griffin. That's Corey Lee Griffin, Griffin. And then on Instagram, I am Corey Griffin. That's IAMCOREY Griffin. And I hope that not only that they get some more information from you, but you can, like you talked about, doing some joint venture. That would be awesome to be able to connect you guys. So thank you so much, Corey. And just like what you said,
Absolutely.
don't be fearful in this process. Just it's your time, Fearless Flippers, to conquer real estate investing. Thanks, Corey.
Guys, he might be young, but he has been doing this for a lot longer than me. I'm going to take his advice. If I ever look to move outside of Fresno, I know how to do it now. I hope you also took some notes so that you'll know how to do that, whether it's now or in the future. You just got to make that decision. You got to go for it. So check out the show notes of that if you want to go ahead and download them. They're at fearlessflipping.com/Corey Griffin, Corey. Don't forget that E, Griffin. Fearless Flipping, it is your time to conquer real estate investing.